Okay. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know if you've been keeping up with E3.
I've not had a chance. Anything interesting?
Well, I mean, obviously nothing Blizzard related. However, Skyrim remastered.
Oh,
Looking forward to that. It looks way awesome. Hold on one
okay.
second. Uh, pre-show live for the Warcraft podcast. Be starting up in 5 minutes. Okay, should I go and WoW? I don't think I'll be able to do that anyhow.
Don't worry about that. Yeah, I don't need your computer to shut down.
Yeah, I'm not joking. I've been having the worst computer problems today.
Yeah, I know. We were playing the other night, and then you disappeared.
It broke, crashed.
Is that what we're calling it these days?
I don't know what to do. Oh, Rose said that Sony destroyed at E3. I forgot to watch it.
What did they destroy? They break
I don't
something?
know. No, shut up.
Oh
No,
my gosh, they broke something, didn't they?
no. I have a list of like some differences from the movie and actual lore as well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're getting. Trust me.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Trust me. I'm with you on that. Okay. Okay. Let me. I'm gonna send out a quick tweet myself. I tweeted that hard.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. Okay. Let me make sure that our stream is looking okay. Oh, I look really pretty.
Oh, cool. So you've talked to Ori, haven't you?
About her coming back in the game.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. How you think that's looking?
About Ori coming back in the game.
Yeah. Do you know where she's going? I only talked
I
to.
told her to come to us.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it! I can't.
I can skip this ad in 30 seconds. What's happening to you, Twitch? What? Are you serious? That's stupid.
There we go. I'm getting you set up.
Thank you. Oh.
That's better. Now you're better.
I'm guessing at the end or so, or at the beginning maybe of the we'll talk about our ratings for the movie.
Oh yeah. We can do that at the end. We'll do that at the end.
Gotcha.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Well, hold on.
Okay, hold on.
What if we did it at the beginning, because we're going to be discussing everything about it? No. I guess we should keep it kind of objective.
Discuss the stuff first.
Yeah.
Before we give it the rating.
You're right.
All right. You feeling good?
Yeah, I'm
Let
good.
me test this real quick. This does not count as the intro. Okay? Yeah, see? I broke it. Testing it again. Okay. I'm ready for the intro. I'm ready to hit the record button. Here we go in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, friend, to the Lorecraft Podcast.
And welcome once again to a special episode of the Lorecraft Podcast. You're listening to Machik, your fun, furry, fabulous, feline, Tauren druid, who apparently is going to stutter all over himself tonight. With us tonight, we have the one, the only, the leader of Transmog, the one who can put together any costume outfit out of any random 3 pieces of armor, the warrior with the most, Legren. Say hi, Legren.
Hey, everybody. Nice to see you tonight. It's been too long. About 3 weeks.
Way too long.
3 weeks since... Wow. Goodness gracious. I'm not abandoning you guys again. I didn't abandon you the first time. Let's not use that phrasing.
He
I
thought
love you
about
guys.
abandoning you.
No. I love you.
So this week is a very special episode of the Lorecraft podcast. We will be discussing Warcraft movie. Okay, it has an actual title.
Warcraft: The Beginning.
Yeah, okay, so the beginning. Even though it's not really the beginning because there's stuff that...
Yeah, there's actually a lot of stuff that's way before.
So Warcraft: The Beginning, and because of that... Again, spoilers. This entire podcast is spoilers if you have not seen the movie. If you have not seen the movie, don't listen to this. We're literally not doing anything else. We're not doing our fantasy fables. We're not doing emails. We're not doing questions and answers. It is just the movie because we don't want you guys to miss out on that stuff if you can't listen to this podcast yet. Okay?
Yeah. So, unfortunately, we don't have Yami with us.
Because Yami has yet to see the movie.
Exactly.
So this is just LeGrand and I. Yamano, hopefully, she is preoccupied, and so we're hoping that she sees the movie in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, so LeGrand and I have both seen it. When did you see the movie, LeGrand?
I saw the movie on Thursday at 8 p.m. At my local cinema, which was the first showing for the standard because I like IMAX, but I don't like 3D. I hate 3D. I detest it. So that was the first showing.
Okay. And I saw it on Friday. It was a 7:30 showing at the Regal Cinemas. It was me, my wife, my son, and his friend, and we actually got 4 Warcraft cards. So
you went to the Regal, so you got the stuff.
Yeah.
Man, you're lucky. You're lucky. They don't have that down here.
No, I know, because that's in the South.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
And so we went on Friday, and okay, let's start off really early. Initial reaction to the movie: positive, negative, general thoughts. Go.
Positive. Let's just go ahead and throw that out there from the very beginning, before the movie started. Like the lights were all on, and then just right when they started to dim, I brought my girlfriend with me, and I told her, all right, I'm sorry, you can move a few seats away, but I'm screaming for the Horde as soon as those lights dim.
Did you?
And the lights started to dim. I looked at her with an evil smile, and she just, face palmed like usual. And then I chickened out a little bit, but I was like, for the Horde!
Now, does she game at all?
She games. She doesn't play Warcraft.
Okay.
Although I'm trying to get her into it. Eventually, I'll probably steer her into it with my ramblings about lore. But as soon as I uttered those words, surprisingly, it wasn't packed, because I think everybody who was like a Warcraft fan in my area, or I think a lot of people were like, well, it comes out June 10th. But me being the nerd I am, looked it up, and I found it on June 9th. So I don't know if a lot of people knew about that, but there was this one cosplay girl. There was this one girl who cosplayed.
So your theater allowed cosplay?
I guess.
Because my theater literally had a sign on the door that said, no face paint, no costumes, no nothing.
Are you serious?
What?
That's terrible. This girl was decked out in like a mage robe and came in with this wooden staff. It's pretty sick. Whoa. I think she was a human. I didn't see ears, so I think it was a human. But it was sick. Me and my girlfriend saw it, and we were like, oh my goodness gracious. And I had to stop and compliment her about it. But anyhow, I'm so happy. Okay. So basically, as soon as I chanted for the Horde, about 7 other people all around me just were like, for the Horde. And then this one guy to my side was just like, you see, this is why we lose battlegrounds. and so my Warcraft experience started off pretty well.
Oh man.
Oh, yeah.
So that's okay. So my initial, just base reaction of the movie as an entirety, I thought fairly phenomenal. There are things that we're going to talk about that I wasn't necessarily thrilled about, but didn't take me out of the movie. And one of the things that we have to remind people is that, and they've said this, so this is a different world, but the same world in regards to World of Warcraft. It is not a reboot per se, but there are liberties that are taken that change bits and parts of the stories that those of us that are lore geeks kind of know about. And so it's funny because I was listening to another podcast today that was talking about the movie, and they were bringing up some things, and I'm thinking to myself, yep, those are the same sorts of things that we're going to talk about today. So what Leggers and I are going to do is we're going to kind of go through the movie. We're going to talk about some of it. We're going to talk about some of the lore, how the lore actually differentiates from the in-game and book-based lore that we already have in canon. Mm-hmm. And that's going to, now if you're watching this live, I see we've got a couple of people. If you have comments about the movie, feel free to let us know. We'll definitely talk about those things as well. But yeah, okay. So first scene, right? It opens up with that one clip that it's been kind of been shown around where the Alliance player has the shield and the sword and he bangs them together, right?
And then the orc's just like running around. You don't even really see his face at all. I think they just show like side shots of it.
Right.
Oh, immediately epic.
And he comes in and he slams, and you know, it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the story, but it starts you off with a feeling of what it's going to be like, right?
The feeling of Warcraft and its simplicity. The Alliance die. Ooh.
Well, that's not entirely true. You did watch the entire movie and didn't just close your eyes during the Alliance scenes, did you?
I had to... That was the old me going in. I'm sorry. I'm back. I'm ready to go.
Because if you close your eyes during the... During some of the scenes, we're gonna have some problems in our discussion today. But it starts off in Draenor, and this is the Draenor that is after Gul'dan has taken over from Ner'zhul.
Although Ner'zhul isn't even mentioned in the movie.
No.
One thing to take note: he's not mentioned. He's not acknowledged. You never see anything about him.
Right.
So that's something that you might need to take note of in the movie. It might be that Gul'dan got orders straight from Sargeras or something like that.
Right. And so it's post, if you read the books, it's post Rise of the Horde. Okay? Mm-hmm. It's after Rise of the Horde, or near the end of Rise of the Horde. Yeah. They're about to open the gate for the first time. One of the cool things that I thought was seeing Draenei there.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I mean, until like a week before the movie released, I hadn't seen anything about Draenei. I didn't expect to see Draenei, and then I saw this one. It was like the facial structures and the makeup they did to make it look like a Draenei. I was like, huh, how are they going to feature that? Are they going to be killing something? But immediately in the movie, you see this one Draenei female just reaches out to Garona and is like, "Please save my kids," and Gul'dan's like, "We need them. We need them all." And then they're all sacrificed.
Yeah.
Oh, the glorious sacrifice for the Horde.
What I do like is we see Garona right there at the beginning. We see Gul'dan right there in the beginning. We see Durotan. We see Doomhammer. It is, it's great. And one of the first scenes that we see with Durotan is Durotan and his wife, right?
Draka. Mm-hmm.
Draka. And Draka's pregnant, and they're in their tent or
their hut.
Okay, and one of the things that impressed me was how real those characters felt.
Mm-hmm. And not just in the CGI. I mean, the CGI was phenomenal, fantastic. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen that level of good CGI in a movie before. It was perfectly done for orcs, but also just on an emotional level, because you look back into the games Warcraft 1 or Warcraft 2 or even other franchises for orcs, and they're just a lot of times they're portrayed as these mindless beasts and things like that. But in the movie, it really shows you how the orcs of Warcraft aren't just some savage creatures. They're actual people too. They're sitting there laughing and joking with each other. Draka hits Durotan and they both fall on their backs laughing. It feels real.
Yeah, and it's that sense of emotion that I thought was so just felt so good. Now, there's a couple of things that are a little odd here, right? Okay, so we're talking about Orgrim. In the beginning, him and Durotan are best buds, okay?
Yeah.
One of the things that I don't think the movie made clear, or maybe they're rewriting a little bit, is that Orgrim was not a Frostwolf.
Yeah. That in the movie, he was definitely portrayed as a frost wolf.
Yes.
However, in reality, in Rise of the Horde and other things, Orgrim was actually part of the Blackrock clan.
Which again, and this is for people who geek out about the lore, it kind of pulls you away for a second. You're like, wait a minute, what? I mean, they are best friends in Rise of the Horde. You know, there is definitely a camaraderie. These are the two, and in fact, he gets angry at Durotan's death in the novels, and part of the reason he takes over the Horde is because he hates what has happened to his Orcish people. But there's that sense there, and it's like, what? Another thing to find out is that the Fel in the movie, which they never, they never said Fel magic. They just
said Fel. And thank you for bringing this up. I know exactly what you're going to say.
So in the novels, in the story, in the lore that we know and love, the way the orcs consumed the Fel initially was by drinking the blood of Manoth.
Yeah, that's how they became like primarily absorbed to it. Well, that was like where the blood haze came up.
In here, though, it is essentially Gul'dan putting it into the orcs.
Yeah, in a way. Another thing about the Fel, I guess in this movie, is the fact that maybe I'm completely just missed something the last few years I've been playing Warcraft, but in the movie, Gul'dan takes the life essence from like Draenei and uses it to power his Fel magic. Right. However, I don't think that's ever been like really depicted in Warcraft. I mean, obviously the Fel, it corrupts and it burns, but it's never, used this life and use that power for destruction. It more was its own separate entity rather than taking it out of someone and using that as like a parasite sort of thing.
Well, and it was interesting because one of the things they say in there, Fel, the way Fel works is by, just like you said, using the life essence of another person. It is death. But it's not pictured necessarily that way in the game, in the lore. It is, it results in corruption. It is, there is a taint to it. I thought the green taint was really nicely represented in the movie.
Definitely. You could see when Gul'dan was casting his spells that his fingertips would start to glow all green.
And the green was like the exact green from the game, right? You're sitting there and you're like, yep.
This is exactly how it is.
Fel. And so they send out an initial warband, right? And the gate opens up, and he uses all of these Draenei's bodies, who essentially turn into husks, and they go through the gate. And what I found interesting was that gate, when they stepped into the gate, it was almost kind of a ghostly feel, but what you find out is they're actually in the lake in Black Morass. Now, if you've ever done...
what?
Yeah,
they were in the lake?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because they climb out of the lake.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a lake.
Yes.
I thought that was just some strip of land. Honestly, I thought it was kind of like talking about like, imagine like, there's a portal here on your right and there's a portal here on your left. You go through the right one and then there's just like this little interdimension that puts them together. I thought that's where they were.
Well, it maybe played that way a little bit, but what you find, they climb up out of the lake.
Yeah, okay.
Right? And that's Black Morass. If you've ever done the Caverns of Time, the Black Morass is a dungeon where you have to close all these portals and things like that. But it's great. They climb out, and you see this orcish warband there, and you see trees falling into the lake, and the lake then dissipates from the portal back into the lake. And so Draka was not supposed, if she was pregnant, she should not have gone through.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
But she does go through. In fact, she hides her pregnancy behind a belt when she goes through. Mm-hmm. Well, she's going through a big Fel portal with a baby inside her.
Not the smartest idea.
No.
Let's be honest.
And so when she comes out through the portal, she is essentially going into labor immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And she has a baby, and the baby's dead.
Yeah, pretty much. Doesn't move. Doesn't move. Oh, that I hate to say it. Kind of wish that actually happened.
Well, let's keep going though, because
Okay.
for those that, again, maybe they're new to the story, but that baby is who we now call Thrall. Okay, so this is slightly different than the lore that we know, but Gul'dan goes up and he picks up the baby, looks at the baby, and there's a deer, a doe, off to the side, and he sucks the life essence from that doe and puts it into the baby, and that's why Thrall is green.
Yeah. I guess that's a pretty good explanation for it.
Again,
in terms of the movie.
Yeah, again, this is strictly in terms of the movie and how it's done. And so here we are, the Horde, or at least a small clan of the Horde, are now on Azeroth. We have the good first, 15 minutes is all orc.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And one of the things I read is that they actually did that on purpose. They chose to focus on the orcs early so that the audiences would feel empathy towards the orcs. They didn't want the orcs to be the bad guys. They wanted the orcs to just be another side of a coin. Okay?
Yeah.
So here we are. We're in Azeroth, and it's time to switch over to the humans. And this is where anybody that's, again, read the books, so much lore, but some of it's different. We're going to get into that. Okay. So we are in Ironforge. And I geeked out. I'm not going to lie. I'm sitting there next to my wife, and they pan to Ironforge. And we're like, it's Ironforge!
I'm right there with you. As soon as I saw the snowy mountains and the little title at the bottom that said Ironforge, I was like, and I started like hitting my girlfriend's leg, and then she was like, "What? What?" And I was like, "Shh, it's gonna happen."
Well, and I'm sitting there going, I've attacked that 1 billion times, and I've defended that 1 billion times. This is fantastic. And the first person we see is Anduin Lothar.
Mm-hmm.
And this is exciting. And it's like, whoa. And he's being shown a gun, essentially, right?
The boomstick.
The dwarf calls it a boomstick.
Actually, fun note, by the way, that gun is in the game.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like a newly replica sort of thing either. It's been in the game since I think maybe vanilla.
And the boomstick is based from what movie?
That's not a question for me.
Oh, it's Evil Dead and Army of Darkness. This is my boomstick. You're young.
Evil Dead. Oh, okay, go on.
Oh, man. All right. So he's sitting there, he's checking out this boomstick. He's pointing it in his face, which was made me laugh. And then the next thing you know, this other dwarf comes running up, huffing and puffing with a message for Anduin Lothar to get his butt back to Lordaeron.
Yeah, one of his keeps was under attack.
Yes.
Or had been razed to the ground.
And so he comes back, and then we find out that there is someone in who had broken into the morgue.
Yeah, and you wonder who this guy is. It's like, okay, they're about to introduce a really interesting character right now.
Mm-hmm. And this is where we first meet Khadgar.
And for those of you who are Warcraft fans, but you're new and you're wondering why this is happening, you might not know much about the lore. He's not old in the movie.
And he's not old in the game technically either.
Well, yeah, but
because part of that is a different lore that we're going to talk about as we move along here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we meet Khadgar, and what Khadgar's doing is he's had a feeling. And he's trying to find out what exactly happened to this garrison. Okay, and they used the word garrison, and of course I cringed.
Yeah.
When they said, I was like, oh god, I've got work orders I gotta go check on. And so, of course, Lothar is angry for some reason at Khadgar for doing this, but he eventually goes, okay, what's up? And Khadgar shoves his fingers down the mouth of one of the dead guys, and out spews Fel.
Yeah, this fell dust looking thing that honestly, it was gross, but it is awesome.
And so the next thing we know, Lothar's like, okay, tell us about the spell. And Khadgar's like, I'm not the one who should tell you. Nope, that should be the Guardian.
And that's, of course, referencing the Guardian Medivh, who we don't really see in World of Warcraft, but he is very much a part of the lore.
Oh, and his presence, if you've ever read the novel The Last Guardian, you will get a ton of information about Medivh. Okay? Mm-hmm. A quick note here. There is a huge difference. Have you read The Last Guardian yet, Leggers?
I haven't, but I know a lot about Medivh.
So there is a huge difference, and this is where the lore really veers between how Khadgar initially meets Medivh. So in the book, Khadgar is actually sent to Medivh to apprentice him. In the movie, Khadgar knows about Medivh, and their first meeting is actually when him and Lothar go to bring Medivh to back to Lordaeron.
That's their first meeting? I thought he had been an apprentice to Medivh. I think they mentioned that in the movie. He said that he renounced his apprenticeship, Guardian.
That was he renounced his apprenticeship to the Kirin Tor.
I think he might have mentioned it while he was with Medivh, like in the library.
Right. He renounced his apprenticeship to the Kirin Tor because Medivh doesn't like the Kirin Tor.
Okay.
That's why Medivh was so angry. He's like, what is this Kirin Tor mage doing here?
No, Khadgar. Khadgar renounced his apprenticeship.
I'm sorry. Yes, Khadgar renounced Khadgar renounced his working for the Kirin Tor, but Khadgar never apprenticed Medivh because Medivh didn't know who Khadgar was. He even says, so who is this young wizard?
Okay.
In the library. Remember when him and Lothar are talking upstairs?
Okay.
He goes, who is that? Who's the wizard in the library? So in the book, though, Khadgar is an apprentice to Medivh, and that is important for game and book lore, but not for movie lore. So let's continue on with the movie. So before we get to Medivh, though, we see Lothar and Khadgar travel to what was the name? Pride's Lion's Pride Inn. Okay. And one of the funniest things that we see right as they're traveling there, a Murloc.
Oh yeah, that was some fan service right there. I immediately smiled.
I'm sitting there, I'm like, it's a Murloc.
I was sitting there, and as soon as I saw it, I just pointed at the screen, and I instantly saw 5 of other people in the row in front of me start pointing at the Murloc as we passed by it.
Oh my gosh! So we got a Murloc in the movie. I was very excited about that. So they meet again. They meet with Lane Wren. For those that don't know, Lane is the father of Anduin, who is the father of Varian, who is the father of Anduin Wren. Okay, so there's your 3 generations. Okay, so Lane essentially says, listen. We have not, Anduin, Lothar, and Lane talk about Medivh. They haven't seen him in 6 years. Okay, he's been kind of absent, and Lane says, "Well, here, show him this. He will come," and gave him a ring. And so Lothar and Khadgar travel over to Karazhan. Oh, it was so nice seeing Karazhan in the movie. And they start out on a lower level, and we see Morose. Now, you know who Morose is, right?
Holy crap, I just realized that was the guy.
Yeah. Morose is the undead butler that you fight in Karazhan in the banquet hall.
Yeah.
Yep. And so we meet him in living form here. He, same as the book, he is the only person still with Medivh. Medivh used to have lots of servants and things like that. Now it's just Morose. Okay? And Morose takes Lothar upstairs to meet with Medivh in Medivh's magical bathing chamber, which is what it felt like the entire movie. And they leave Khadgar down in the library, which is fun because you actually fight in the library in the Karazhan raid as well. So it was exciting seeing that there. One quick thing to note, Moreau's, I mean, the amount of stairs they have to climb is phenomenally large. And Moreau's is never out of breath, and Lothar is entirely out of breath, which was kind of comical. But then also made you think, why is Moreau's fine and Lothar's out of breath? And part of that is the magic. Oh my gosh, I'm echoey as all get out right now. All right, well, let me see if I can fix that, because I think I know what the problem is.
It's partially that morose and magic, and also the fact that he has killer quads.
Hold on a second.
That's my little throw in there.
I know what the problem is.
It.
Oh my gosh, I am super echoey. All right, Laggers, you keep talking.
Okay. Well, basically they go up to this little chamber, up there. And things go down. They're talking, and he's like, "You've been summoned by the king, Medivh."
Check.
And then Lothar is like, "Okay, well, you've been summoned, so I need you to come help, or else the kingdom might be, completely ruined, completely devastated." And Medivh instantly stops him, and he's like, "Who's that down there?" And while we're down there with Khadgar, which is who Medivh is referencing, Khadgar sees a little figure, a hooded, shadowy figure that's, standing in front of a bookcase, because he's snooping around books, trying to learn all the knowledge that he can before he gets discovered. And this shadowy figure kind of beckons him over before it retreats into one small book. And Khadgar starts looking for the book that the shadowy figure retreated into. And this tattoo, this Kirin tattoo on his arm begins to glow, which was kind of weird.
But it was cool, right?
Yeah, it was kind of like a metal detector.
I thought it worked well in what they were trying to, you say metal detector, but pulling him to a certain location. Right?
Yeah, it was kind of like a metal detector. I can see that.
I thought it worked. All right, I fixed my echoey, figured out what it was. Okay. Now, one of the things that we find out later is that shadowy figure is named Elodie, right?
Yeah, although I had always pronounced it Elodie, but yeah, Elodie is how they were saying it.
That's how they pronounced it. Okay, good.
And for anyone wondering, Elodie was a half-elven mage and was the first guardian of Tirisfal.
Yes.
So he was the very first one before Medivh was ever a thing.
We say he, but in the movie
it's
a she.
Said she. But I have a theory on that.
Okay, let's not get to that because we're going to go into her further when we get up to Dalaran.
All right.
That's a whole nother. Okay, we'll get to that soon. All right, so down comes Khadgar, or down comes Medivh. Oh, which Medivh's working on this golem, right? This giant earthen golem. He's crafting out of clay, and he says something like, this golem would take many years to actually become magical and come to life, but up in this magical room chamber of awesome, it's much quicker. And immediately I'm thinking, oh, hey, look, foreshadowing. He's going to come to life. Thanks. Okay.
There you go.
And so they come downstairs, and the first thing Medivh does is he throws Khadgar up against the wall, and he says something about, "Are you here to take my place? You want to take my place as the guardian?" Okay, I'm paraphrasing, obviously. And Khadgar's like, no, I renounced the Kirin. So you can obviously that Medivh has a hate relationship with the Kirin.
Yeah.
Okay. And so he drops them, and they decide that it's time to go back to Lordaeron. And this is really cool. The portal spell, and the portal spell's used a couple times in the movie, I thought is one of the prettiest spells that they have.
Oh, yeah.
The little
it definitely was. Yeah, the little it looked like almost like a web sort of thing. A bunch of threads going into his hand while he's holding it. It
And
was
so
beautiful.
he portals himself and Khadgar and Lothar back to Lordaeron, and here we are in Lordaeron. Um, so I think at this point, does it jump back to orcs?
I'm not sure. I'm not
Or
sure if
is this
anything
where
really
they go on a
significant.
scouting party? That's what it is.
Yes.
Okay. So they go on a scouting party. It's Lothar, it's Medivh, it's Khadgar. They want to go find some orcs because at this point they don't know it's orcs, right?
Hmm.
They want to go find some orcs, and they want to. Hey, little tornado, how are you doing? We're talking movie today, so if you haven't seen the movie, make sure that you hang back. But so they go on a search party, and they're looking around, and of course they get surprised.
Oh yeah, big ruthless band of orcs just comes wrecking in.
And it was
It was beautiful. Let's be
oh
honest.
oh it was phenomenal.
It's fantastic.
So this is happening, right? This
Mm.
is the fight happens, and one of the great scenes is where Blackhand picks up the horse and throws the horse.
Oh, okay. That made me really sad the first time I watched it, and then the second time I was like, "Wow, this orc is strong, man." It
Yeah.
like it's. I don't know if it's even like in World of Warcraft, you don't really think about the size difference or even the strength difference between a human and an orc. But in the movie, it's clearly depicted. It's like this orc picks up a horse with ease. It's choking out the horse for like 10 seconds like while it's bucking and kicking. I mean, it's a huge difference. And another note, just quick, Blackhand was one of my favorite characters in this
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, he dies.
Shut up, dude. Shut up. No.
I've already said spoilers at the beginning.
I know, but oh man, I loved him. He was so
Okay.
great, though.
So, as the fight's happening, Medivh's like bent over looking at Fel infused in this tree, right?
Hmm.
And Khadgar's standing next to him, and he's like, and so he immediately throws up a shield around him and Medivh. Okay, so this fight happens, and literally the orcs are raffle stomping on the humans.
Oh yeah, because the humans have never faced anything like this before. While to orcs, they're just tiny little creatures, less
They're
than the
twigs.
Janai.
It's
Yeah.
like snap, gone, and so the fight happens. Boom, boom, boom. They're fighting, and then Medivh, I guess, gets angry. And you're right, D Gilroy. The movie lore was very different, and we're definitely getting into that. And so Medivh starts to harness some power, and he sends some sort of magical infusion of death into the Fel, and it. Go ahead.
It almost seemed like banish demon
Ooh.
or some kind of spell like that, where it was weird because it was only the orcs that were green, only the
Correct.
ones that had been affected by a whole lot of fel, which honestly the fel spreading and making people green, I don't think that was really explained in the movie on like their skin color turning green really.
Well, it's not explained, but Gul'dan at one point he does infuse orcs with the green.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Because
However,
he says, remember, he says to Orgrim, he's like, I'll give you your fel power now. And Orgrim's like, I'll take a rain check, dude.
yeah, no, you're right. There were some orcs though that did stay brown.
Well,
And
those are
I'm
the ones who
assuming
have
they were
not-
all I'm assuming those were the Frostwolf clan.
Yes, it was. And all the Frostwolf clan is killed later on. Oh,
Yeah,
I spoiled
Oh.
that early, didn't I, Leggers? I'm sorry, man.
it's fine.
You've seen the movie, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So he does that, and then a chase happens. Of course, we need our action chase. Okay.
Mhm.
And you have they want to capture a live orc.
Mm-hmm.
And they end up capturing a brown orc,
Yeah.
as well as Garona.
Yes,
Okay.
indeed. And apparently, at this point, Garona had talking had talking. I can't believe I said that.
You mean
Had
half-orcan?
talked to half orcan, had talked to human captives that the orcs had taken, and had somehow very quickly, or whatever time frame it shows in the movie, had learned a sort of a broken English from those humans on how to talk in their language, which the brown orc clearly doesn't like. Is like, I'm going to snap your neck if you keep talking in their tongue. And you can notice that it is a broken English. It's not perfect. She's not very sophisticated and eloquent with it. It's very simple and direct. It's like we fight with brutal strength or things like that. There's no fancy words in there, just kind of the necessities. So that's very noticeable in that regards.
Now, another interesting thing there is, so I was listening, like I said, to another podcast talking about the movie, and they said that in the movie they insinuated that Garona was half orc, half human.
They did.
When did they insinuate that?
I'll tell you right. Well, I mean, do you want to get there? It jumps a little bit ahead.
Yeah, tell me when, because I don't
All right.
remember that part.
Now, they never said it directly. However, in the movie, they very clearly kind of insinuated that Garona was half orc, half human. Because, well, obviously they said she was half-breed. And there wasn't really much that ever said you're a half-Draenei. They never really indicated
Right.
that. But there was a point when, I don't know if you recall it, when Medivh and Garona were inside of the tower alone. Because I think Lothar was Garona was checking over Medivh while
Right,
Morose
right.
was doing whatever.
Yes.
And DG Gilroy says Garona speaks Draenei.
Right.
That's true. She does speak Draenei at the very beginning of the movie. However, she also speaks Common. But that is a good point to say. That is a good point, that Garona does speak Draenei, so that could indicate maybe she is half Draenei. However, I think even the movie directors or someone said that she is indeed half human in the movie. And I think that's further explored in the director's cut that's going to be released later.
Right. So
I'm sorry.
she's in there with Medivh.
Yeah, she's in there with Medivh, and Medivh is talking to her. And it's sort of like a foreshadowing sort of deal, but it happened in the past. I don't know what you
did
would
he
call
say?
that. Well, he was talking to her, is like, he was getting really deep. And he was like, oh, young Garona, blah, 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 blah. Because do note that in the comics, they were actually a romantic interest, Garona and Medivh. But in this storyline, it's insinuated actually that Medivh is her father.
Really?
Yeah. Because Medivh starts talking to her, and she's like, and he kind of avoids the subject of who she was, and he was like, I fell in love once. And I don't remember the exact dialogue, obviously, but he goes on and on about this one woman that they were, kind of, that he and her had, bonded,
Right.
and then eventually they had to separate. And that it's insinuated at some point there that...
See, my problem with that is how in any way could she be half human if she's been on Draenor? Because this is the orcs' first chance meeting with humans, right?
Yes. However, I mean, speaking in terms of the movie, of course, obviously,
Right.
I prefer not the movie lore. I mean, nobody takes
Right.
this canon either. However, if I think it's very viable, very possible that Medivh, who is this really powerful guardian, the strongest magic
All
wielder
right.
who has ever existed,
Yeah.
was able to, transport himself to Draenor.
Okay. I'll give you that. Now, the one thing that kind of drives me a little crazy, though, is that for those of us that do know the lore, and, we realize that, she was retconned to be half Draenei, half orc, is that this idea of her being half human doesn't work in the sense there's a lot of plot holes. Having said that, there is a scene that was cut that dealt with her being half human.
Mm-hmm.
And we're hoping for a director's cut because that'll give us a lot more information in regards to
They did
that.
say it will be released, and it will show Garona's origins.
And I think it's interesting, but I think the half Draenei works better. That's personal opinion.
Yeah, no, I think it definitely does. I think it adds a little bit more of like uniqueness to it. Instead of being, half of the two main factions, just do this random other faction. But in terms of the movie, in terms of appealing to like a wider audience,
Right.
and although, I mean, I don't think this change will necessarily should antagonize any fans.
No.
I mean, because technically it's never even specified that she is human unless you watch the director's cut.
Right.
But it provides a bigger sense of them versus us, and I'm the one in between for Corona.
Right. And so I think there's a lot of liberties taken with Corona there. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
She does speak English. She ends up meeting the king. We get to meet Lane's wife, which is nice.
Yeah,
because we know she dies
she was
from a
really
rock
good.
to the head.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's Varian's. That's Varian's wife.
Oh, that's right. That's Varian's wife. How does Lane's wife die?
Who knows? I have no idea, really.
I'm gonna have to
Varian's
look up
mother.
that.
I don't know.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool, kind of interesting. There's a lot of the story there, which is kind of filler story, but at the same point, again, gives us this feeling of relationships between characters.
Yes.
So the story goes on. Eventually, what we find out is that Durtan wants to essentially get rid of Gul'dan.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the ways to do that is to chat with
their quote unquote chieftain, which is King Lane. So he manages to organize that through certain circumstances, and eventually they meet at, I don't know what they referenced it as, the large black rock.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of ironic. I don't know if that was like a fan service there.
And
but
this is something that never happened in original lore.
No,
this is
never.
This is completely movie based.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the cool things it does do is it gives Lothar some anger when his son is killed by Black Hand.
However, I don't know if you noticed it, and I just want to acknowledge it because I know that anyone else, I want to talk to other people about it.
Right.
The cameos that were in there. Hellscream, Grommash Hellscream was there. Did you know that?
I did, but I didn't catch it. I knew he. So was
Kargath.
Kargath was too.
Saw him too. When the lightning wall cuts them off from each other, that Medivh put up. Before his son was fighting Blackhand, he killed like 2 or 3 orcs, and then where it started falling apart was when he started fighting against Grommash. Yeah. And Grommash literally ripped the blade out of his hands and just looked at him, and then Blackhand took him up and killed him. So that was where that little cameo came in.
Oh, and I loved the way they killed him,
though. Oh yeah, it was so brutal, but it was so Warcraft.
Yeah.
Oh.
Orgrim was supposed to kill Blackhand for War Chief. That's a true statement. That's in the original lore. We're going to get to that in a second. But there was a question. What do you think about the convoluted timeline and how Garona is supposed to talk to Lane with Khadgar about Medivh being messed up after she was his mate in the original lore? That didn't bother me as much as the fact that at Medivh's death, it was Garona and Khadgar there, not Lothar.
I mean, if we're going back into like specifics, you could argue that, well, like in the movie, it's never even specified that it's just saying that Medivh was corrupted by the fell magic.
Oh yeah, they never say Sargeras.
But it was in the World of Warcraft lore, it was Sargeras that was inside of Medivh that had done all that.
Although we do see that when he starts to change.
Yeah, you start to see the horns come out. Yeah. So I guess you could consider it that. Maybe they'll reference that later.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's jump back because we're jumping. And what you're gonna have to understand, guys that are listening, is we're bouncing around at this point, right? it is boom, 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 boom. Okay, and Gilroy said that Khadgar stabs Medivh, and that's what ages him in the lore. Exactly, that's what I was referring to earlier. Is that and it is also the other thing that doesn't happen in the original lore at this point is Garona doesn't kill Lane at this point in the original lore.
Yeah,
she
and
does
definitely
kill him.
not in that way.
Yeah, definitely not in that way. Definitely not at that time. In fact, she kills him in Lordaeron.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so again, there are some major differences. Okay?
And when you go into the movie, you got to think about, you got to have an open mind with it, because the movie's not going to be the same cookie cutter thing we've seen in Warcraft. Because of course we'd want to see all that. However, it would also be a little bit of nothing new that's going to surprise us at all. And that might not be what everyone wants, but that might be what the movie needs.
Right.
So you got to go in it with an open mind and think, this isn't going to be the same. This little thing isn't going to be the same. But the final destination is inevitably going to be what it's supposed to be.
Exactly. So the next thing that happens, again, that throws a complete wrench in anybody that's played the game for any amount of time goes, what? Is Khadgar goes to Dalaran.
Mm-hmm.
And where's Dalaran? Floating in the sky.
Yeah, that... I don't know why they needed to do that, to be honest.
What?
Why did you need to have the city floating? Of all things, why did that need to happen?
That thing that didn't happen till Wrath.
Yeah, you could just be like, hey, there's this mage city. That's literally all you need to say. Add some splashy spell effects that are up in the air, and that's all you need. I don't know why it needed to be floating, but I guess to make it more iconic, didn't need to do that.
Yeah, and that I'll be honest, when I saw that, I was just like, okay, you guys pulled me out with that. And so Khadgar goes to Dalaran to meet with the Kirin Tor mages. Now, one of the things in the movie is, I guess, Khadgar left his training. Well, that didn't happen in the original lore. Not at that point. Anyways, again, in the original lore, Khadgar was an apprentice of Medivh, etc., etc. Okay? So he goes there, and the mages are like, what? Medivh's gone bad? Okay.
They instantly started bad-mouthing Khadgar as soon as he walked up the stairs, too.
But then, as soon as Khadgar said Elodie, boom. The head guy who somebody had said was, what's his name?
I really don't know. Cannot recall.
Arcadus?
Maybe.
It's like... Oh, now I can't remember.
Anyhow, what was it going on?
He's like the head Kirin Tor mage, and I can't think of his name. It's like Arcades or something like that. Anyways, so he's there, and as soon as Elodie is said by Khadgar, he's like, "Whoa, how do you know about Elodie?" And then Khadgar is taken to this giant cube.
Mm-hmm. Which I've never seen before in my life.
Well, because
very confused by what that was, because it was never even explained in the movie what that was.
Yeah. And so he's like, so what am I supposed to do? And then all of a sudden a door opens.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, am I supposed to go in that?
And he's like, this has never happened before.
Exactly. And that was the best line, is like, yeah, this is new. So he goes into it, and this is where he meets Elodie.
Aladi. However, I have a theory on that.
Okay.
Because the name Aladi is mentioned, right? Antonidas. That was the guy's name. Thank you.
That's the name I was looking for. Thank you, Gilroy.
Yeah, so he mentions the name Aladi, right? Over by the cube. However, Aladi in all of Warcraft history was, first off, a guy. Which I guess isn't that big of a change, but think about this. What if that wasn't Aladi inside of the cube? What if that was Aegwynn, which was Medivh's mother? who had been keeping an eye on Medivh when all this was happening, watching him and all this, and that's why she's warning Khadgar and all this stuff. That was my theory. As soon as I saw it was a female, I was like, I think that's Aegwyn. I think it is.
I hadn't thought about that.
So that was my theory on that, because Aegwyn's never mentioned, but Aladi is. Gotta think it's Aegwyn, especially since she was the D. Gilroy says, but Aegwyn was fleeing the Kirin Tor at this point.
Well, in the original lore.
Yeah, see, that's the problem with these theories, and because the consistency with the lore and the different universes are just really confusing, so you don't know what has remained and what hasn't.
Yeah.
But she used spells to keep herself alive. Maybe she just locked herself in a cube, and then the Kirin Tor found it and were like, "Huh, what is this? We can't get inside. There's some kind of strong magic all around it," or something like that, and it's just her inside of it. I don't know, but I think that would be awesome.
I think it would too. But again, a little bit of lore differentiation here, right?
Yeah, so we don't know what's remained and what is gone.
Yeah. All right. So he realizes that he's got to stop Medivh. At this point, Lothar is in jail because he got all snotty with Medivh and King Lane.
Mm-hmm.
And Khadgar goes and rescues him.
With a polymorph.
With a polymorph.
With a polymorph.
Oh my gosh, it was so awesome.
Yes.
Suddenly you see the guard turn into a sheep, and you're like,
I didn't even catch it at first. I just thought it was I think I was actually so immersed in this movie that I was just like, I didn't even notice. It was just a part of the Warcraft universe that this guy just turned into a sheep.
Yeah.
They only had
1 minute. They only had one because he even says, you'll only be a sheep for like a minute. And it was like, oh, this is so perfect because that's how it is in game. Well, for an NPC, you can sheep him for 1 minute. That's it. And then they come out and they attack you, little bastards. So they go and they're gonna go fight Medivh. So they go back to Karazhan. They find out that Moros is dead because, of course, Medivh has sucked all of his life essence out.
Oh, poor guy.
And, of course, the golem comes to life. It's great when Lothar chops his head off with essentially the sculpting stuff.
Yeah, like a metal wire.
Yeah. Khadgar's chanting his intonation, which is going to reopen the portal from this side to let the rest of the horde in. And he has to do that with Gul'dan. Okay, so we have to jump back to the orcs here for a second because Durotan wants to show the rest of the orcs that Gul'dan's terrible, right? And so he challenges them to Mak'gora.
Yes. Oh God, you have no idea. When I heard the word Mak'gora, I instantly just felt so giddy inside. Oh goodness, I'm sorry. Keep going. Just keep going with the Mak'gora.
Okay, so they begin to fight, and Durotan's doing pretty well. Well, suddenly Gul'dan's like, oh God, it seems like Medivh has started chanting. That means I have to chant. Blackhand, I'm going to need you to take care of this guy. And Blackhand's like,
that's one of my favorite points in the entire movie, because you see the camera, it pans on Blackhand, and Blackhand is just standing there and he's just looking and he's like, what should I do? And then the camera pans over to like the Mak'gora flag, which is like a symbol of their tradition. And then it's like, he's like, oh, well, what do I do now? Do I follow Gul'dan or do I follow our traditions? And this is the point when Blackhand's like, you will sit here and finish this fight, Gul'dan.
Yep. And then Gul'dan cheats.
Yeah, he cheats.
He uses magic.
All the orcs call him out on it too.
Now, truth be told, okay, he uses magic. He gets called out on it. Thrall used magic. He should have been called out on it.
No, yeah, totally. Are you
go.
just now getting this? Are you?
I'm just now agreeing with you. Okay.
It was cheating. You don't use magic in a Mak'gora.
If Thrall was in this alternate timeline. Okay, so Duratan dies. This is how Duratan dies.
Then
Not
let's
Grona. Draka dies as well, but she dies after she fled the encampment because all of the frost dwarves were being slaughtered. Okay. And she was being chased by some of the orcs that wanted to kill the frost wolves. One of them came upon her. She attacked him, essentially chewed off his neck. He died, but in the process, she died. So Thrall's parents are dead.
awesome fight between them two. It was so short, but it was so great. The green blood dripping from her mouth.
My
It was
gosh,
sick.
yes.
It was sick.
Oh, and her head upside down, watching her baby float down the river as she dies. Oh,
It was great.
I teared up. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, and let's see. When Gul'dan was cheating, right?
Right.
Duratan basically jumps on him and as a last effort because Gul'dan basically thought he was dead at this point. But Duratan gets like the rest of his strength and jumps up and basically tries to hug tackle this guy, and Gul'dan just wraps his arms around him and starts to breathe in all that, the life essence of Duratan. And he becomes, Gul'dan becomes stronger because of that. And eventually, he just lets Duratan go, and he's this. It made me so sad. It was like this, no other word but a husk.
Oh yeah.
He was just this lifeless gray husk of what he once was. And all the orcs start calling him out on it. And then Orgrim stands up and he's like, "Are you going to follow this orc into war? I'll follow no orc who doesn't honor tradition." And all the orcs are like, yeah, I agree with you. And then these three starting to walk away, talking about like their new rebellious side away from Gul'dan. Next thing you know, their husks on the ground, and Gul'dan starts screaming at everyone.
He's like, "What now? What now?"
You better follow me.
Oh, I guess we should follow you since you'll just kill us.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. I was very surprised that they forgot that he did tradition or whatever. I don't know. Whatever.
And so, so the next big scene is the attack on the orcish encampment by the humans, because Medivh, who is a bad guy by this point, tells the humans, "Oh yeah, I talked to Duratan. We're good buddies, and he's going to help you guys out." And what we find out is that Duratan's dead. So the humans attack. Big old fight ensues. Again, there's the chanting that's happening, the portals starting to open, the fight with Medivh and versus Khadgar and Lothar's happening, and then everything starts to go sideways, right? So first things first is Medivh dies. How does Medivh die? Medivh dies because a golem falls on him. How does a golem fall on him? Because Khadgar does a portal spell, leads the golem to him, portals the golem directly above Medivh, and kills him.
That was kind of weird to me. Maybe I'm just... I was... Okay. I guess you could do that, or you could get, that entire wall, and just portal that above him and break it. I don't know why he had to stand in the center of the pool, where all that fell magic would be powering him, but whatever.
He dies, but he doesn't die right away. The demon within him perishes first, and we get back to the original Medivh. And what does the original Medivh do? He summons a portal to Lordaeron.
To Stormwind.
Or to Stormwind. So that everyone can escape.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what happens. I've been saying Lordaeron this whole time, and I've meant Stormwind the entire time. I feel terrible now.
It's fine.
And so they all start to escape, and he's trying to keep the portal open as long as he can, and then he finally dies. Now, this is a huge difference than the lore, because in the lore, it's Khadgar and Garona that kill Medivh, and not Khadgar and Lothar. Huge difference there.
And that would also be the point where Khadgar stabs Medivh, and then he's cursed with this thing that makes him appear like he's aged far, far beyond what he actually is. And I'm not gonna lie, near the end, when Khadgar started getting like, what was it? I think it was when he was getting imbued with like Fel and he was trying to fight past it and stuff. And then Lothar was like, "Let me look at your eyes," and his head was down. I wanted so bad for Khadgar to look up and for him to be aged. I just wanted them to put that in there somehow.
Right.
But didn't happen.
And so, so he dies. The fight's happening. The portal closes, and they're stuck there, surrounded by these orcs. And this is where I thought it was interesting that Lane looks at Gronin and essentially says, "Kill me."
I knew as soon as he said that, I knew that was not a good idea.
Yeah. And so she's like, "Okay," and she kills him, which gives her a little more status within the orcs.
I mean, she was a hero.
Yeah.
She crowd surfed. She
Now-
totally crowd surfed.
But in the actual lore, this is not when it happens.
No, not at all.
It actually happens later when Garona is a confidant to King Lane. Okay. And she kills him again in one of his towers, I believe.
Yeah. See, now, and for many different reasons as well, because in our timeline, just a quick little thing. Garona was tortured, and she was like magically aged by Gul'dan to become an assassin through all these magic and spells and stuff. Basically, she became a sleeper agent. So she became Lane's confidant and friend, but at some point, they activated like the sleeper agent inside of her, and she killed Lane.
Right. Right. So again, a little bit different here. Okay. And it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, what happens next? Lothar shows up.
Oh, yeah. But it was the best. It was the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Best
And
fight.
Lothar lands. Well, he tries to get Lane's body.
Mm-hmm.
And
You think he made it? You really think he
do.
made it?
but no, he didn't.
Blackhand and his demonic self, almost broke that poor Griffin's ankle. It was so sad. I was surprised that Griffin could still fly, honestly. Like, he was walking around just fine after he'd been slammed headfirst into the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
And so he wakes up, and guess what? We've got another Mak'gora.
Mm-hmm. Blackhand challenged him. And do know, I mean, this was when he was, like, all demoned up. He had
yeah.
fell magic. His hand
was...
Blackhand had been all, fellified and all that. And he even threw Lothar his sword, which is honorable.
Yeah.
Sucks to be honorable sometimes, because then you get your crotch split open.
And that's exactly what happens. So he runs after him. Lothar slides under him, slices him, and wins the Mak'gora in one.
Stabs him in the back. It was...
Boom.
It was great. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, it was fabulous.
I mean, it was... It made me think, wow, how many other ways can a human kill an orc?
Well, and this is where it gets really cool. And I thought this was really impressive. So he wins the Mak'gora, and he starts to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And the orcs honor his leaving.
Yes, I loved that so much. You see all of them, and if you played the game, slash salute as an orc puts their hand on their chest, just like this.
Oh, it
on
was...
the left side
and
of their
Gul'dan's
chest.
all mad. He's all like, hey, kill him. Kill him. As he's still alive.
And all the orcs are just making a pathway to the griffin for him. One hand to the chest. And that's when you see the other cameos of Kargath and Grommash, which are very subtly put, but it's them when you see them. You can see the tattoos on Grommash's shoulder, and you can see the really pale gray skin of Kargath.
Yeah. And so he leaves, and you're sitting there, you're thinking to yourself, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we start to head towards the end. We've got a funeral
Mm-hmm.
for
King Lane.
Lane. And one of the things that I feel they did well is they really left it open to a sequel fairly easily.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you have to.
Yo,
You
yes.
have to.
And we also see humans pick up Goel.
Oh yes, 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 yes. I completely forgot about that because I don't care about that little piece of crap. But yeah, no, yeah, they pick up Thrall, and then you're just left wondering because it definitely was an orcish voice. So some kind of human picked up Thrall, and if you know the storyline, then you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, also, just a random other thing to note that I thought was very clever with this movie was the fact that they didn't speak the same language. That just felt like such fan service to me. I don't know why. Maybe it's
Who
because
didn't
I've
speak
been
the
like
same language?
the orcs and the humans.
Oh, yeah, no. And I thought using Grona as
A mediator.
a mediator was perfect.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it makes
Because
sense. She's in between.
oh, yeah, and bounced between, hearing the orcs speak in Orcish or then listening to the orcs in regular English and what they hear out of the humans. I thought that worked superbly.
Yeah,
I never felt confused.
no, yeah, totally. It kind of felt like it honestly felt like fan service to me.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why, but maybe because I've been barred from talking to the other faction for the last, however many years. But yeah, no, I thought it was amazing. The Orcish language sounded like an Orcish language.
Yeah.
So
And you understand, we've bypassed several things in the movie. I mean, we could sit here and go word for the movie, but then you're looking at 2 hours worth of me and Leggers talking. One of the things I do want to point out is they do that flyover of the different locations that are burning from the attacks by the orcs, and one of them is Red Ridge Mountains area.
oh,
And
for
you
real?
oh yeah, it's what's the little town in Red Ridge Mountains? It's
Oh, I have no idea what the town is, but I know what
It's,
you're talking about.
I've been there, I don't know, hundreds of times, and I just can't remember the name of it, but that's because I'm a terrible human being. It is, there we go. View image. Lakeshire. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
So they're flying over, and you see the bridge, and you see Lakeshire as one of the areas that were attacked. And I'm like, what? And Stonewatch Keep, too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what?
I don't know if you recall. I'm just, point out a few cameos if you see them in there, some fan service stuff. If you, I believe it was right before the scene, before they, the first saw the orcs, the humans did. And as they're going through the forest, you can see a summoning stone in the background behind some tall grass. Yeah.
Yes.
That was pretty tight. I just pointed out so many things that my girlfriend knew nothing about.
No, and as we're coming to the end here, I thought it was phenomenal how it was a combination. If if you didn't know anything about the story, about the lore, I felt like the story had it all. If you didn't know, if you knew everything about it, if you've been playing it since Warcraft 1, the sheer amount of little things that were in there was phenomenal.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, it was. Sure, there were some, liberties taken with the lore. However, honestly, other than that was all I could have really asked for from a Warcraft movie.
Right. Yeah. Now, something to know is in the original story, Grona was portrayed as half orc, half human, but later revealed that she is half orc, half Draenei. So that might be something that we see in a sequel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perhaps.
So that's kind of cool. I thought the acting overall was well done.
Favorite actor, actress.
Oh, out of all of them,
Mm-hmm. Or top two if you have to, but top one.
that's a tough one because honestly, if I'm looking at everybody, it'd be Toby Kebbell as Duratan.
Really?
Yeah, the emotion
Mm-hmm.
is it felt so real. He made me care about the orcs.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I can totally see that. I did. I loved the detail, even in the facial expressions for the orcs, especially Duratan. It was definitely well done. Actually, I think I remember they even gave the orcs' hair their own engine.
Oh yeah, they did.
There was a separate engine just to program the orcs' hair. That's an insane level of detail. But I hate to go like I don't know, the obvious route, but I've got to say my first is Lothar.
Yeah, he was good.
And then my second really is Blackhand. I loved Blackhand. Blackhand was up here. He only spoke like 7 words, but that's okay. That's all I need him to say.
That's all I need him to say.
Okay, now what about
Go ahead.
well, I was going to say your rating of the movie.
Well, before we get to that, so Anduin Lothar's son, I don't believe is in the original lore.
Are you sure?
Because I'm doing just a quick look at Wowpedia, and relatives under Anduin Lothar, the only ones they show are Thoradin.
Really?
Yeah.
So was he just brought up just for purposes of movie lore? If anyone can help us in the chat, because I'm actually curious about this. I thought I'd actually heard of him before. Wow. Okay. Let's see.
And Gilroy's right. I thought Gilroy says I thought Orgrim, even though they placed him in the wrong clan, did well in his loyalties because he was the Thunderlord clan by having loyalties to both orcs and Doratan. Yeah, I thought Orgrim was.
They did him well. They did him well.
And I think that is the big thing for me, is that I think all of them.
They did them justice.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Even the characters, I mean, we might not have heard a lot about, like Lane's wife, the queen.
Right.
She did great. She was. I mean, I wanted more screen time for her, to be honest.
Yeah. I would agree with you on that. One of the other things is, and this comes from somebody who's read the book, several of the novels, and because we are so enthralled with the lore, we look at some of these, Anduin Lothar, we know when he's going to die. He dies on an attack towards Black Rock Spire. He dies at the hands of, oh shoot.
And I don't know, man.
Orgrim Doomhammer. He dies.
Oh,
to
wow.
Okay?
That's sick. That better be a movie.
And
I swear.
These are things that I look and I go, you watch the characters in this first movie and you go, ooh, I really want to
see that.
Yeah, I really want to see where this goes. Okay.
I think, theoretically, it will shine. I mean, for this they had so much lore that they had to stick in one. They went on a lot of different storylines that all converged on one. It will. I pray that they get to Arthas. I hope and pray that they get to Arthas, because if they can follow his storyline, it'll be incredible.
Now, if you're new to the game, you're listening to this podcast because you're new to the game, and you actually want to see Lothar in game, you can see a statue of him. Mm-hmm. Is it Burning Steps?
I don't know. I don't know about that. Is he in the Stormwind? Is he one of the statues in Stormwind?
No. It's a monument. I believe it's in Burning Steps. Yeah, Burning Steps. Because that's where the battle happened. There's actually a statue of him out there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Sword raised, shield in hand.
That's pretty legit. Okay.
Yeah. So you can, and of course you can go to his grave as well.
Really?
Yes.
What am I missing? Where? Hold on. What?
What do you mean? What are you missing?
Where can I meet the grave?
Lothar's grave is in.
I honestly had no idea that you could go visit his grave somewhere in World of Warcraft.
Where Where is it? It's
Um,
I'm looking for it. Oh bugger!
goodness.
Is it in Eastern Plaguelands?
Duck! Hurry up, Duck!
Voices in my ear. I think it's Eastern Plaguelands.
Okay.
I'd have to look it up, but it's on the south. I can't remember because I don't have the maps in my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's fine. It doesn't matter.
Well, it does for those that might be wanting to visit him.
You're right. You're right.
But it's the it's the Western Plaguelands. I think it's in the Plaguelands. But it's in the south side, yo. But yeah, you can visit his. Where's Strathholm at?
I have no clue. Are you sure you're not thinking of Uther?
Oh, maybe I am thinking of Uther.
Like
Am I
a
thinking
shining
of
light
Uther?
coming down? I think you're thinking of Uther.
Oh,
Because it is in the
bugger.
Plaguelands.
I know Lothar's grave somewhere in game.
I don't know, man.
I'm gonna have to look for it now. This is the geek in me. Too much in my head. Too much in my head.
So,
Okay, so final ratings.
Okay.
As we pull this to a close, final ratings for the movie.
Okay. Final description, final rating, go.
Are you going or am I going?
You go.
Okay. All right. So I think, generally speaking, as a movie, I think it played well. I thought the plot worked. I thought the acting was actually pretty impressive. And the effects never felt uber fake to me, which I was worried about.
Mm-hmm.
As a Warcraft lore geek, I was upset that they changed some of the lore, but at the same point understood why they did it.
Yeah.
Overall rating, and really what knocks it down, is the fact that the lore is different from what I wanted. It's a 9 out of 10.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, it's a good movie. I generally like fantasy and sci-fi movies. Those are my favorites. And I felt like as a fantasy movie, this was very strong.
Okay. I guess that's a pretty good one.
You go.
Well, let's see. I don't know. I've always been really critical on movies and stuff. However, I'm not Rotten Tomatoes, which, but I'm not even get started on some of the critics of this movie, because by all means, this is not a bad movie whatsoever. This is not a bad movie. I will say that for people who are not already invested in the lore, who don't really know what's going on at all, I do know that the movie can be a little fast-paced. I've seen multiple people who just they don't remember the names, because there wasn't a whole lot of emphasis on the names. It wasn't like they put extra emphasis when they said their names. It was more of kind of like regular sentences. It's like, yeah, Lothar just doesn't know what he's doing. And I know I even heard at one point their reference to Lothar as Anduin, because that's his first name. And I knew that anyone, like, that was the first time they mentioned it. I knew no one knew who they were talking about when they said Anduin. So I do think it can be a little fast paced, but in general, for a general audience, I'd say it's a solid 7 out of 10.
Ooh, ouch.
I think it's a very ouch. I think that's a good movie. I'm very critical. I mean, like a 10/10 is perfect for me, but I think it was a very enjoyable movie for anyone who isn't a really fan of the Warcraft universe. However, for a Warcraft fan like me, even if you're really into the lore, I think you should go into it expecting some liberties to be taken. I would say with the fan service that they have, with the epic fighting and the amazing CGI, I'd give it probably an 8 out of 10. Minus the liberties that, happened, and as well as a few plot holes and et cetera, et cetera. I think it was a really, really good movie, and I enjoyed it, and I'm getting the director's cut as soon as it comes out. So 8 out of 10 for Warcraft fans, 7 out of 10 for a regular.
So if you are listening to this podcast before seeing the movie, definitely go see the movie. If you are listening to this podcast after the movie, definitely leave your comments at www.thelorecraft.com. so that we can hear what your thoughts are on the movie, because I am curious, and we'll talk about, if anybody posts anything at thelorecraft.com, we will go ahead and mention it next week and chit chat with you about it. Because again, I don't think this is going away anytime soon. I think it's been making pretty decent money.
Oh yeah, before it released in America, they broke even.
Yeah. So they're, this is all good stuff for us. For those of us that are lovers of lore and lovers of all things Warcraft, I think this is wonderful.
Yeah, I highly encourage anyone who has not seen the movie, especially if you're a Warcraft fan, and even if you're not and you just like fantasy, go watch this movie, go support it so that we can get farther and farther into the storyline, so that we can see Arthas, Illidan. Maybe we'll get a war with the Ancients. Oh, that would be epic. I would love that so much. But support this movie, buy tickets, buy the director's cut. Go to a Regal Cinema. If you haven't taken someone to a Regal Cinema and cashed in on that free Warcraft thing, I don't know what you're doing.
I don't know what you're doing.
I don't know what you're doing, because I would do it, but I live in the South and we don't have Regal Cinemas here, so.
No, you don't. One thing I want to do before we log off for the night is I'm trying to log into our Patreon account, which apparently is not allowing me to do right now.
Those darn Patrons.
I wanted to give a quick shout out. Oh, Patreon's not letting me log in at all. Good. Just wanted to give a quick shout out. Excuse me. To our newest, we have a new Patreon supporter.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so that's exciting. For those that don't know, right now, Monchik, pays for everything out of pocket in regards to our wonderful podcast. I have no problems doing that. We'll continue to do that. It's not going to change anytime soon. But we, if you're looking to help out in any way, we would love to have you help out. And all you have to do is head over to patreon.com/thelorecraft and toss a donation our way. There are rewards. Okay. This is a $5 donator. And so they're going to be entered into our monthly drawing for World of Warcraft pet or mount. Okay. Yeah, exciting. So there's that. But we need at least 2 people at the $5 for those drawings to occur. So we have 1 patron, need a second one. So if you're looking at wanting to win something, awesome. And that's all I'm going to say about that this week. So am I missing anything, Leggers?
No, I don't think so.
I'm feeling pretty good this week. We
talked
a lot.
Yeah, we talked for about an hour and a half. Yeah. Please continue to send us crafty questions.
Oh, yes.
Hashtag crafty questions at the Lorecraft, whatever questions you may have, and we will answer it as best we can on the podcast. And feel free to send reader emails to the email that Magic knows that I don't know if I can remember, and I don't feel like butchering it.
What? Which the reader emails one?
Yeah.
Isn't it just
Magic at the Lorecraft?
Yeah.
Yeah, Magic at the Lorecraft. So send him your reader emails, and we will feature them on the podcast as well. Read them aloud, acknowledge you, give you some cookies.
I like cookies. Big fan of them.
We're going to work on getting those virtual cookies for you guys, I pinky promise.
All right. Well, let's go ahead then, Leggers. Let's bring us to a close tonight. Let me get our music queued up so that you can take us out tonight. How's it sound?
Sounds good to me.
All right, Leggers. It's all you.
Thank you all for joining us for the 68th episode of the Lorecraft podcast. We love your support. Stay nerdy.
And we're clear.
Boom, boom, boom.
Oh my gosh, the movie.
Dude, now we talked about it. I want to see it again.
I know.
Oh my
that's
god.
That's all I can think about now.
Oh goodness gracious! I have to watch it again, and I can't go pay for it, so I just have to wait, don't I? Guess so. That sucks.
I
Oh my
understand that
god.
feeling. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. Those that came out and listened to the live episode. Again, this was a special episode this week. A little different than usual.
Yami should be joining us again next week.
Yeah, she will be back. She will be back. She hasn't had the chance to see the movie, so.
Yeah, we'll be returning to some point in the Chronicle. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. So excited about that. And yeah. Oh man. So exciting.
Be quiet, Jamaica.
Jamaica wants to watch it with you. Is that okay?
No, it's not. I know him in real life. He's he's the one who won the pet, who doesn't play World of
Who
Warcraft.
doesn't play World of Warcraft?
Yeah.
I thought I recognized the name. I'm like, I recognize that person.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, that's gonna happen. All right. Well, are you gonna be on this week at all, man?
Not tomorrow. Wow, Thursday.
Okay.
Thursday I will.
Warcraft on Thursday.
Let's do it.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
I've been making gold. Apparently, some of the enchants that I can make sell for like 400 gold.
Holy crap!
Yeah, so I
Wow.
went from 3,000 to 7,000 in like 3 days.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Dang.
So there's that.
I've actually started thinking about as soon as I get my human to 100, I'm gonna start basically gold, like
Gold
I almost
digging?
said gold farming.
You gonna be a gold
That's
digger?
not what I'm doing. I'm not saying I'm a gold digger, but you know, I don't think it's best for me to finish the sentence
No.
online.
Smart move.
But yeah. Hey, Gorbite. What's up?
Gorbite. Oh,
But yeah.
Hope you got a chance to listen to this tonight, Gorbite. It was a good one.
But yeah, I'll be on, and hopefully I'll be power leveling. I'm in Outland right now, and that's my burnout zone. That's where I slow down because I hate it so much. I hate the dungeons. I hate everything about it. And right now I think I'm looking at 63. So I got like what, 5 more levels, and then I'm out of there.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I'll be on for a little bit. Although I think I gotta go for now.
All right, my man. I gotta exit out too.
Alrighty.
All right, folks. Thank you so much. You guys take care, and we are gone.
See you.